It was about 2007 when I started to notice that my periods were getting increasingly heavy. And I was a single mother at the time. I was working 2 jobs, and I really didn't have time for the disruption that these periods were causing me. But it got to the point where I was having to change my supplies about every 90 minutes to 2 hours. And I'm talking, I had to tape together 2 heavy overnight pads in a long oblong and use a Super Plus tampon, and I was having to change those every 2 hours. And I would soak through my sheets, my bedclothes, my night clothes. I would trickle blood on the bedroom floor, walking from my bed to the bathroom to change my supplies. Sometimes I even wore diapers because I just couldn't contain the flow. And so what that ended up leading to was severe anemia, and I was losing so much blood that I just couldn't concentrate at work. I couldn't retain information. So when I first started going to see my doctor, I had to bring friends or family with me because I couldn't understand a word that the doctors were telling me because, you know, and I'm a university educated woman and I'm a journalist by trade, so you'd think that I should be able to understand what was being said to me, and I just couldn't. So after repeated trips to my family doctor, I was finally diagnosed with uterine fibroids, and I had several of these fibroids which were causing the heavy bleeding. And I was referred to a gynecologist who basically told me that my only option was a hysterectomy. And I was so desperate for relief. I mean, I just would have done it right there in his office if he would have given me the option, because I was just so desperate. So 3 weeks before my surgery, my scheduled hysterectomy, my older sister was killed in a car accident. And she had never wanted me to have the hysterectomy because she had seen some shows on TV about potential side effects. And so when I was writing her eulogy and giving her eulogy, it really made me stop and think, you know, if she can be killed coming home from her son's hockey game and something so innocent, maybe something might happen to me on the operating table, and as a single mother, I couldn't take that risk. So I decided to do what women love to do, and that's go shopping. I decided to shop online for a doctor who could help me without a hysterectomy. So I was able to actually find a surgeon in the same city where I live who specialized in minimally invasive alternatives to hysterectomy. So I went to see him, and he said, I can absolutely help you. You don't need a hysterectomy. You just need to have these fibroids removed. So almost a year to the day that my sister died, I had a hysteroscopic endometrial ablation and a hysteroscopic myomectomy, and both of these procedures basically, one of the procedures removed my fibroids, and the other procedure burned the lining of my uterus so that I would not have periods anymore. And I walked out of the hospital without even an Advil. So I went from being told that I had to have major surgery and have my reproductive organs removed to having a minimally invasive surgery that took a matter of minutes, and I walked out of the hospital with no painkillers, and I haven't had a period since. So it's been an amazing journey. You know, women do not have to accept the first treatment option they're given. The sad thing in Canada, though, is that many times doctors deliberately withhold information from women about their treatment options, and that's what happened to me. The gynecologist I went to see first never told me about these other options. I had to find out about them myself. And that's what I hear from all women across Canada, the same thing. And that has to stop. We have to empower women with choices so that they can march into their doctor's office and demand the procedures that are right for them and not for their doctor. So that's what happened to me. And I'm very happy with the choice I made, but I would never impose any choice on other women. It's a very personal decision. Excuse me. It's a very personal decision what women decide to do and how they decide to treat their bleeding. And we have to respect that, because no 2 women bleed alike, and the suffering that we experience is just, we have to look at it holistically of how it affects their lives. So hysterectomy might work for some women. It's a fabulous procedure. We know it's the only definitive cure for fibroids, for the bleeding. And yet there are other women who absolutely want to avoid that. So we have to respect a woman's right to choose, but we have to give her the information so she makes an informed choice.